Access Lex Institute is a nonprofit organization committed to helping talented, purpose-driven students find their path, from aspiring lawyer to fulfilled professional. In partnership with our nearly 200 member law schools, improving access and positively influencing legal education have been at the heart of our organization's mission since 1983. We have a DC office where we do public policy, advocacy work, fund research, and analyze data related to legal education, and a field team that travels around the country delivering financial literacy information at law schools and undergraduate institutions. We're a nonprofit, and everything we do is free to you. My name is Rachel Patterson, and I'm the Director of Programs for Diversity at Access Lex. I work with students and law school administrators in an effort to increase diversity in legal education. Prior to joining Access Lex, I worked in law school admissions. I've read hundreds of applications, and I am eager to share my knowledge with you today in your quest to attend law school. At the end of this lesson, students will be able to explain the critical importance of timing in the law school application process. Timing is critically important in the application cycle. As you can see from this graph, there are a couple of peaks in the application cycle. Applications rise in January. As a disclaimer, November looks really high because September and October are also rolled into that figure. Most students who apply to law school do so in January and February. Why does this happen? Well, some students are waiting to finalize their applications after they receive their LSAT scores. Some applicants wait to submit their applications until after the winter break or after the first semester of senior year. It is important to remember, though, that all law schools begin accepting applications in the fall. The earlier you apply to law school, the better. One of the primary reasons why it's so important to apply early in the application cycle is because each law school has a limited number of available seats. Class sizes range from 75 to 500 plus students. As months go by during the application cycle, more students are accepted, which means that the number of available seats decreases. In September and October, law schools have many more spaces available. Why? Because most people tend to apply to law school later in January and February. However, as time progresses and increasingly more students submit applications, law schools have fewer available seats. Ideally, you want to apply to law school early enough in the cycle so that the school has a plethora of available seats to increase your chances of admission. Now, if you're listening to this presentation and perhaps it's November, December, or January, do not despair. Just because you are applying later in the cycle does not necessarily mean that you are doomed and that you should not apply to law school. However, it is important to recognize that the earlier you apply, often the greater your chances of admission. The importance of timing in the law school application process is similar to the importance of timing when you're going to see a blockbuster movie premiere. For really popular movies, you have to buy your tickets early, right? If not, the movie will likely sell out. As time passes, there are fewer available seats because people are buying tickets. The same is true in the law school application process. So, as an example, let's say we have a law school applicant who's named Jocelyn. Jocelyn has a 3.2 GPA and a 155 LSAT score, and she applied to 10 law schools by October 31st. Good news! Jocelyn was admitted to 5 of those law schools by mid-January. Jocelyn has a strong chance of being admitted because there are lots of available seats. This is the equivalent of someone showing up to a movie theater at 6 p.m. for a 7 p.m. movie. Now let's change the facts slightly. In this new fact pattern, Jocelyn has the same LSAT score and GPA. However, she applies to law school in February. She meant to apply to law school by October, but due to a variety of reasons, she applied in early February. In mid-April, instead of being admitted to 5 out of her 10 schools, Jocelyn may be admitted to 3 out of 10, and she's waitlisted at 2. Now, why do you think that this is happening? Because she applied late in the application cycle. Here we have Jocelyn, the same candidate, right, in both instances, but she was only admitted to 3 schools instead of 5 because she applied it late in the application cycle. Is Jocelyn a great candidate? Yes, but an already competitive process just became even more competitive. In short, she showed up at 7 p.m. for a 7 p.m. movie when the majority of other moviegoers are showing up at the theater. In order to ensure that you can, in fact, apply early, you need to make sure that you are adequately prepared. Super Bowl winning quarterback Russell Wilson often states, "The separation is in the preparation." You are preparing yourselves for the law school application process by participating in this presentation. And by preparing your application materials in a timely manner, you will increase your chances of admission. For many law school applications, there is a place on the application where you can request a hold. When you request a hold, you are submitting your application to the institution, but asking that the admissions committee hold the review process until an outstanding document is submitted. Students often hold for an LSAT score or hold for a letter of recommendation. So let's say you are a student named Jameer. Jameer planned to take the LSAT in July, but life happened, so he took it in September. He didn't like his score when he received it in October. All of his other application materials were ready. He decided he wanted to take his LSAT course again and sit for the November test. Under scenario 1, Jameer submits his application by October 31st and requests a hold for his November LSAT score. So when his score comes in, his application will be reviewed relatively promptly. Under scenario 2, Jameer takes the September test, doesn't like his score, and decides he wants to take the November test. This time, though, Jameer does not have all of his application materials prepared. His resume is complete, but he only has an outline of his personal statement. He hasn't thought about optional essays and has not drafted an addendum yet either. Jameer focuses on taking the LSAT course again and sitting for the November test. Jameer decides to wait until he gets his score back in December to begin finalizing his other application materials. Jameer does not submit his application until January 31st. This is an extremely common scenario. Can Jameer still be admitted to law schools? Absolutely. Can Jameer improve his chances of being admitted to law school if he applied earlier in the cycle? Yes. Timing also matters because of the potential impact it has on your ability to receive scholarship funding. Remember Jocelyn from earlier? In one scenario, she applied by October 31st, and in the other, she applied in mid-April. When she applied in the fall, she was admitted to 5 schools, versus when she applied in the spring and she was only admitted to 3. In addition to admission, there were financial implications for Jocelyn too. When she applied in October, she received 3 scholarship offers for $10,000 to $15,000 a year. In mid-April, instead of receiving 3 scholarship offers for $10,000 to $15,000 a year, Jocelyn received 1 scholarship offer for $5,000 a year. Is Jocelyn still probably a great candidate in both scenarios? Yes. Did the fact that Jocelyn applied later in the application cycle potentially hurt her chances of admission and of receiving merit scholarship funding? Probably. Thank you for watching this presentation. We hope that you'll watch all of the videos in this series. And if you have any additional questions, please reach out to us at diversity@accesslex.org.